4, 1.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, a.k.a. Slim Cliffy. Joining me for the next hour to talk about the new NHL schedule, our single-entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
We are going to be busy for a while now with this new schedule, which is nice. No Olympics, which is sad, but we're going to get that NBA All-Star boost, GPP boost, which is going to be great. We always say it every year. It's going to be awesome. And then every year, NBA guys win all the money, and then we're all sad about it. And then the contests go back to crap, and we all suck, and we sad, and we cry.
Yeah, we do get excited about NBA All-Star break every time. If anybody did miss the new NHL schedule, obviously there's over 100 games to make up because of the postponements around Christmas. They made them all up in about 3 weeks. And I looked at it, and I think from February 7th through the 20, like it's a 3-week stretch where there's at least 4 games on every single day, including Sundays. Like it's a pretty heavy NHL schedule coming up after the All-Star break, which is in 2 weeks from today, I think. So we have a normal schedule for the next 2 weeks, and then the All-Star break, and then things really kick in gear. So we got a couple weeks to get our feet under us here. We are presented by Yahoo Fantasy. They're our sponsor for today's show. They have been our sponsor all season long, and they've been very good to us. And we do have a giveaway through Yahoo that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. We have some winners to talk about. Like, I write down the winners whenever I see them pop up in our Discord, and the top of my sheet is absolutely full. One guy that DM'd me, Brett. I hope I'm not messing up his last name. Brett Wachowski used to work at Awesemo before I got here.
Wachowski?
Yeah, and he sent me a screenshot. Took down second place in the $15 a couple nights ago, took down second place in the $12 single entry, about $30 in entries, took down about 9K. So he did pretty well. Jimmy sent us a note a couple days ago saying he took down the 150 max nickel on FanDuel. That's a 23,000 man field. That's no small feat. Congrats, Jimmy, on taking down that 150 max. Ricky, I think on Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, I can't remember, took down the $33 single entry over on FanDuel. Asobi on the same night had 3 top 5 finishes in the dime time. And of course, our buddy Mr. G, Saul Goodman, took down the $15 and finished second in the $200 that night for about a $70,000 hit. Not bad, Mr. G. And then Dedro, he's kind of feeling under the weather these days, but he took down the kick save last night for $1,000. And then Bill Dozer took down the hit check. Dedro, I think it was the secondary main slate. I think he took down that, they said. Anyways, took it down for a K. Bill Dozer took down the hit check. That's the $1.20 max for $400 last night. It was a pretty good couple days here at Awesemo. But like we always say, we do like seeing people win. There aren't a lot of huge NHL contests through the year. So when we can see people win, 20K, 50K, whatever it might be, we do like to celebrate those. But there are a lot, NHL is filled with a lot of smaller contests. So whether you're winning the nickel, whether you're winning the dime, whether you're winning the $1, whether you're winning the $15, it doesn't matter. We do like to celebrate our winners here at Awesemo. Congrats to all the winners. How did you do last night? I did not fare very well. I did well a couple nights ago. That was on the night of the 200, but last night not as well. How'd you do?
Same. The night of the 200 did really well. Last night was a weird night. Like Virgimelka, huge game. Igor started off rocky, ended up getting the saves bonus, but Colorado did absolutely nothing. Colorado 1 did absolutely nothing. Anaheim did nothing. New Jersey did nothing. Toronto didn't really do anything. So, you needed Rangers almost. If you didn't have Rangers, I didn't even homer stack on a 3-game. I should lose my fan card. But, anyway, they're in the conversation for the President's Cup, and Igor's the GOAT. So, I guess, we have some, it's all right. We're doing pretty good.
I mean, there's a little bit of ammunition here that you can use. Like, you're not firing blanks.
Yeah.
There's definitely a little bit of fuel to that fire. But congrats again to the winners. Very awesome job over the last couple days. Let's hope we can get some more winners out here tonight. Before we get too much further, I see about over 70 people in chat. If you guys could throw us a thumbs up, really helps us look good for our bosses, and click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And make sure you click on the bell, the notification button, so that you do get alerts whenever we go live. And be sure to check out free premium tools and data up on the site. We usually have them every day. Today is no exception. We have NBA main slate ownership projections, and we have NHL main slate ownership projections. So NBA or NHL tonight, we have your ownership projections all set up. So head on over to Awesemo.com and check out what we have for free up on the site. And I believe Jeff Votler, part of the Awesemo NHL team here as well, has his power play article up on Awesemo.com. So lots to check out up on the site, even if you're not a subscriber. All right, let's move this along. We got a 9-game slate ahead of us tonight. There's some news that we're going to have to talk about, so let's just get right through these games. Our first one is Washington with a 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into Boston. The Boston Bruins have a 3.1 implied goal total. Looks like Vitek Vanacek against Linus Ullmark in net. Ilya Samsonov has really fallen off the map over the last month or so it makes sense Vanacek gets a start. Tuukka Rask, he just hasn't looked good in his first 2 games back. I'm sorry. I think he might have needed a little bit more time to get ready, but that's neither here nor there. John Carlson and Connor Sheary both out for Washington here tonight. Dmitry Orlov is also out for Washington here tonight. He got suspended. That's going to leave Justin Schultz on the top power play unit, but, Justin Schultz isn't going to be the only defenseman playing over 20 minutes for Washington here tonight. But with a thinned out defense core, does that make you more interested in Boston? Is there anything you want to play in this game? What do you see here, Josh?
Normally, yes. But they're expensive. They have a 3.1 total. This slate is chock full of big totals. Like Edmonton, Florida has a 7 over under. Vegas has a 4 total. Pittsburgh has a 3.9. There's a couple other bigger ones too that we'll get to later. So the Washington blue line's a mess, but the problem is Washington's still a pretty decently defensive team, and they play at such a slow pace that I just don't know in 1 to 3 if I'm going to get to Boston. MME, I think it makes some sense. They're pretty low owned. Boston one coming in around 5%. I think they're in the top 5 for top 2 stacks tonight, so there's pretty good leverage on them. Kuznetsov, Ovechkin have been pretty good, and that's the matchup Bergeron they're going to get. For them, they've been good, probably around league average. But, I just feel like this could be like a 3-2 slow pace, grinded out type of game. That just worries me from a DFS perspective. If you want to play Boston 1, I think that's fine. I just, not something that I'm going to focus on primarily tonight. There'll be a secondary option for me. You want to go down to Boston 2 for, Pasternak and Hall for power play 1. I just think, Backstrom Wilson, that matchup is not great either for them. It just, with this total, I probably am going to look elsewhere. There's just so many bigger totals and better spots with similarly priced lines. There's probably 8 to 10 lines from 16,000 to 18,000 on DraftKings that I'd rather play. So there's just so many options tonight that's just hard for me to focus on Boston. But in 20, maybe you can have a little bit. I think, I get to more Boston if I was making, between 50 and 150. On the Capital side, I'm out on Kuznetsov, Ovechkin as a 5-on-5 stack. They're going to get the Bergeron matchup. If you want a power play stack, the Capitals, I think that's the way to go. But I don't think that's a primary focus for me at all. 2.5 total on the road, tough matchup. Olmark's probably their best goalie right now. So this game is probably just deep MME for me.
Yeah, I want to start on the Washington side. I just don't think there's Alex Ovechkin is always in play. I think that's the one thing we should get out of the way. It's he's kind of like Connor McDavid in that sense. It doesn't matter the matchup. It doesn't matter who he's playing against. if you have the salary, if your lineup construction works out that way, what have you, you could play him. It's perfectly fine. The thing that I don't like about this particular matchup is that Boston 1 has arguably gotten better defensively with Craig Smith there. Like, obviously he's nowhere close to the talent of the player that David Pastrnak is, but the way they play different styles, obviously maybe that makes Boston 1 play a little bit more reserved, a little bit more defensive, but they are considerably better on defense at 5-on-5. So, I think Washington top line is kind of in play here for me, because I think Garnet Hathaway, he's kind of underrated. Like, he's a good forward checker digger type. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a 25 or 30 goal scorer or something like that. But like a diet Zach Hyman or something, you know what I mean? Like that type of player. I think he can be that on that top line. So like, if you want to, two-man Ovechkin, Hathaway, something like that, I think that's perfectly fine. Washington top line is the only place I would look on this team for any fantasy value anyways. It's the Boston second line that kind of interests me here. Pastrnak and Hall, not as good defensively as the top line, but they're still, controlling 58% of the shot attempts, generating 32 scoring chances per 60 minutes. They're very, very good. Washington's penalty kill has been good, but as I mentioned, the goaltending has been an issue for them for, about the last month or so. So maybe it continues being an issue here. I don't know, but it's that Boston second line that really interests me going into that second line from Washington. Nicholas Backstrom, good defensively, but I don't think Tom Wilson is great defensively, and Protas is, he's just a rookie. He's just a guy. So, and then plus all the injuries on the Washington blue line, like I think that Boston 2 is going to get some pretty soft matchups in game. So Boston 2 for me in that game. Like I said, on the Washington side, I think like an Ovechkin Hathaway 2-man or something like that makes a lot of sense. Ovechkin 1-off obviously makes a lot of sense. Justin Schultz on the blue line also makes a lot of sense. I forgot to mention TJ Oshie. He's out tonight. He's on the IR. He's not going to be back for a little while. On the blue line, Nick Jensen got a load of ice time in Washington's last game. Dmitry Orlov obviously will not be back here tonight. Jensen priced at 2,600. He's like, he just has to play like 23, 24 minutes. There's nobody else to play the minutes. Jolt's playing top power play, obviously. Anybody else stick out to you on the blue line?
Because like Schultz, top power play, still only played 17 minutes last game. His price has gone down, so he sees a little bit of bump with Orlov off. Matt Irwin, if you can guarantee me 17, 18 minutes from Matt Irwin is someone I want to play. He just shoots and blocks pucks in his 9 minutes that he normally gets. So Irwin interests me. On the Boston side, Brandon Carlo's fine. And I see people saying I look like I'm going to go skiing in a Denny's parking lot. Yeah, that's what I was doing before the show. So joke's on you.
Well, I mean, before the show, you were talking about how you might have had to do a solo show at one point. I remember I had to do a solo show once a couple years ago, but I was at my grandmother's for Christmas, and all I had was like a toque like that, and it looked like I was robbing like an old lady's house. So I think like toques is something that like you either like look great in a toque or you don't look great, and a toque is something that I don't wear unless I have a hood on from now on.
I couldn't find my regular hat, and my hair is a mess when it's not cut. So, I didn't want to look down and have the light just reflect off my balding head and blind you. So I put on this fella for you.
Yeah. Josh always thinking of the audience and our watchers first. What a good guy Josh is. All right, let's get to this next game. Dallas 3.2 implied goal total going into Buffalo. The Sabres have a 2.4 implied goal total. Braden Holtby against Aaron Dell in net. I don't know why this, like somebody said it in chat. Why aren't they starting Michael Hauser after that great game? I don't know either. I don't know why you would go back to Aaron Dell, but they are. Tage Thompson, obviously he's back for Buffalo after missing that game in Canada. He's going to be on the top line. Now, they've called up Jack Quinn, and Jack Quinn is one of their top prospects. He's on the top power play unit, is Quinn. And they said he's going to be skating in the top 6, but that doesn't really help us out here right now because, if we have Thompson, Tuck, Quinn, that's something I would probably be fairly interested in. If we have Skinner, Krebs, Quinn, I'm probably just going to move along here. So I think it's pretty important to know where Jack Quinn's going to end up, but we just don't know where he's going to be until warm-ups. So how are you handling this game, Josh?
If I had to take a guess, I think he's going to replace Rasmus Asplund maybe. But like the thing is, they send Cousins out against top comps, so maybe not. So like, I don't know. We just have to kind of wait and see. If he does take Skinner's spot, that does interest me. Dallas line, aren't great defensively. You put in our Discord how bad Radek Fask has been this season. Like he's been absolutely awful. But I gotta wait and see. Like it's a 2.4 total at home, and they're not exactly a free square. If Quinn is up there, he has been priced, which really lowers that top line. So then I'd probably have interest, but I don't know. This is a Dallas one game for me. The thing is, like, there's a big price discrepancy if Robertson's in compared to Robertson's out, and he's a game time decision. Like going from Peterson 2,800 to Robinson, who's in the sixes or low sevens, I think he's 6,800 today, is, that's a $4,000 difference. Luckily it's a 7 p.m. start. So like you have time to swap. But like the thing is, if Robertson is in, that line goes from 16,900 to 21,000. So like the lines you can fit in with them are just, the list gets really, really small.
Like you'd have to change everything unless you have like a $7,000 defenseman that you can go change to a punt.
Right. So like, as it stands, I have interest in Dallas one. I think it just massively depends who's going to be there. Like I can build with Peterson in there because, Peterson's not some bum. Like he's not Jason Robertson, but he's not bad. So like
not Radek Faxa.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah. So regardless, I'm interested in Dallas one, and I'm glad it's a 7 p.m. start because there isn't a matchup on Buffalo that scares me. Their defensive line is underwater. So, and it's Aaron Dell, who shouldn't, at this point in his career, shouldn't be in the NHL. So like Dallas one, definitely interest to me, but just be aware that it could jump from 16,900 to 21K. Just have some swaps ready. I don't really want to play Ben Sagan Gurionov. I don't mind Gurionov as a one-off. I want to, I want Buffalo one to go against that line and hope it's Quinn. So the line gets really cheap and you can use Buffalo one. So both top lines are in play for me, but just be aware of what, the matchups and the line combinations. But we should find out at the latest at like 6:40 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I'm with you. I won't go a whole lot further than what you said. I really like both top lines here. I do like Buffalo's top line a lot with Tage Thompson there. Like Tage Thompson does make a big difference. When you look at the top line numbers, like they're above water with them, below water without. If you look, there's not a huge sample with Tage and Tuck, Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck, but they're at about 49% shot share when they're together, which like on the Buffalo Sabres, like that's really, really good because this is like a 46% team. And they're going to go into that Sagan Ben Gurianov matchup, and they've just been flat out bad. Like there's no other way to put it. 64 shot attempts against per 60 minutes, 29 scoring chances against per 60 minutes. They're only controlling 41% of the scoring chances when they're on the ice. So yeah, I do like Buffalo's top line quite a bit here, almost regardless of the iteration. It's just we have to see if it's going to be Jack Quinn or not on the top line. But honestly, as long, Skinner, Thompson, Tuck, Olofsson, Thompson, Tuck, anything like that, I'm definitely in on Buffalo one. Nothing else on the Buffalo side for me. I do like Dallas one a lot. I don't think there's a shutdown. Like if they're not, like you said, if they're not using that Buffalo top line as a shutdown line, there's no line that could shut down Dallas one. So what I would recommend is if you're playing more than like a 3 max is honestly make 2 sets of lines. If you're playing a 20 max tonight, make 20 lines with Robertson in and then 20 lines with Robertson out. And then you're not dealing with a huge hassle and headache on top of what else might pop up at 6:30 Eastern. That's just, a little something that I might do.
Just upload the other CSV.
Yeah, exactly. All right. On the blue line, like Rasmus Dahlin, obviously from Buffalo is the guy to know here. Colin Miller He's going to be out for the Sabres. I think they said for 6 weeks. So, you might see more time for somebody like Robert Hagg or Will Butcher or something like that. But like, I'm not super excited about anybody but Dahlin. On the Dallas side, like, I still think Heiskanen over 6K on the road is too expensive. What do you think?
Yeah, there really isn't much on the star side that I want. Maybe like, I guess Klingberg's fine if you're correlating. I'm not happy about it. Esa Lindell would be the guy I would one off. And then same with Dahlin. That's just about it.
All right. I see a couple super chats. Thank you very much for the super chats, guys. I appreciate it. The first one from Jimmy, a $5 super chat. Jimmy VB saying, sending a small thank you to the NHL Awesemo team for the advice and guidance so far. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for the super chat. And we love to answer questions. Like, that's why we're interested in DFS. I mean, we do like to make money, but it's just an interesting game. Yeah, hockey is interesting. It's an interesting puzzle. We like talking about this stuff. So we just love answering questions. We love just talking things through. And congrats on that hit, Jimmy. Next one from Matt Niehaus, another $5 super chat. Would either of you fine gentlemen care to explain the concept of pivoting, please? Thank you for your time. I mean, I guess it depends if you're talking a pivot before the slate starts or after the slate starts. I'm going to say like just after the slate starts. I think it's something you and I talked about a couple months ago, but it actually is a good idea to refresh this. Is like, this is for me personally, like late swapping, a couple hours after the slate starts or something like that. I usually do it when I have an early line that's the nuts. Like, it looks like it's going to be the nuts. Let's say tonight I'm playing Boston 1. Boston 1 looks like it's the nuts. They have like 5 goals between them or something like that. But then I have Allmark in net, and he has like 3 goals against on 14 shots or something. He's just absolutely terrible. At that point, I will probably late swap, whatever I have left, Vegas 2 or Los Angeles 2, whatever. I'll late swap that to something that I think will be much less owned, based on the assumption that I think somebody out there probably has the Boston nuts plus a better goalie than the one I have, or a better defenseman or what have you. So that's when I late swap, or, if you want to call it pivoting. That's basically the only time I do it. I mean, I'll pivot before a lock, like if there's injury news or significant lineup news or something like that. But other than that, I won't change a lot leading up to lock. What do you think?
Yeah, just to add on to that. So like, you're talking about like pivoting when you're in the money and you're trying to be unique to win. I think another time you can late swap is when you have a line early that doesn't really do too much, and you have the chalk line later. I think that's a time where you can pivot to a much lower owned line with equal upside and hope that the chalk line busts. Your line gets there and you can hop the people who use the chalk and you can sneak into the cash. I think that's a very important time to swap. Like, instead of just, closing the laptop and be like, oh, I'll get him tomorrow, pivot to the less chalky line with a similar ceiling and hope you can just, sneak your way into the money. One thing I don't like to do is like when I start really hot, like I have the goalie going off, I have the line going off. I don't even think about late swapping, because I got to that lineup for a reason. I have all the points. I don't care if they're chalky. The people behind me have to make that decision. I'm just letting it ride.
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction to make too. Like, where you are matters for late swapping as well. If you're near the top of a contest and you got a full late line plus a defenseman or something like that, no, you don't late swap. That's when you just leave your lineup as it is and pray to the hockey gods that it comes through for you. You late swap when you need that 1 or 2 or 3% miracle coming through in a late game. So that's our approach. Good question, Niehaus. Thank you guys very much for the super chats. Let's move along to this next game. Columbus, 2.9 implied goal total going into Philly. The Flyers have a 3.1 implied goal total. One thing I like to do in the mornings, once we get our projections updated, is I'll do a fantasy crunch just using our basic projections. I'm not, I'm not doing anything. I'm not inserting my own settings or picking goalies or picking lines. I just want to see who Awesemo's projections would have as popular. It seems like Philadelphia could be fairly popular here tonight. The Philadelphia top line, they're, obviously that 3.1 total kind of sticks out, but more than that, It's the price under 14K. We have them coming in over 20% ownership here tonight. That feels really steep for a 9-game slate. I want to get your opinion on this.
Yeah. Hot take. In GPPs, I'd much rather play Buffalo 1 than Flyers 1 tonight. Just from a combination of things, like they're similarly priced, similarly decent matchup, much lower ownership. Like I get, like if you're playing cash, you want to play Giroux, you want to play Atkinson, that's perfectly fine. I have a hard time clicking them in, knowing that I'm going to get 20% Giroux, Atkinson. It's just the Flyers are a bad team. It's not as bad as say the Ottawa one chalk from the other night.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That was the comparison I was going to make. Go ahead.
But like it still feels bad. Like it's a 9-game slate. I just don't know if I want to play a 20% line on a 9-game slate. Now, the Blue Jackets have been bad recently. You know, Merzlikins at least is in net tonight. It's not Korpisalo, but Merzlikins hasn't been great either. He's gone negative 2 of his last 3 games on DK. I'm not sure how they're going to match up because I think they swapped around their lines a little bit because Voracek is back. If Drew,
we also don't know where Voracek is playing because you know they had their morning skate, but he flew into Philly late or something like that. So I mean, we assume he's probably going to be on the second line, but we don't really know. Yeah,
my worry is like that Giroux, Atkinson, Farabee are going to see like Jenner, Bjorkstrand, and not Line A. Not that it makes it huge. Like Line A, like we've talked ad nauseum about how bad Line A is defensively, how it just drags everyone down. But like Jenner, Bjorkstrand, still like it's not like anything to be worried about defensively, but they're better. The thing is, like, if the Flyers are in a very good spot, and if you want to play them. But if you're gonna tell me they're going to come in over 20%, I'm going to find a line that is similarly priced and a similar matchup, and I'd rather play them more. You know, if you want to play them, just be aware of what you're doing. Try not to jam chalk on chalk or however you build. Just be aware of your build. But I think Flyers 1's in a great spot. I also don't mind like James Van Riemsdyk one-off power play 1. Columbus doesn't take a ton of penalties, but they've taken more of late, and they're just not great defensively. On the Columbus side, like I'm interested in the Blue Jackets for sure. We just don't know lines. So if there's a line combination that I like Jenner Bjorkstrands together, that's going to interest me. Ralcevic Domi is with someone like Voracek, that might interest me. We just have to wait on lines. I'm just hoping that Jenner Bjorkstrand together, because that would interest me the most on the Columbus side. But again, Columbus beats aren't great with line combinations, but it is a 7:00 start, so hopefully we get some clarity.
Yeah, I like the Philly 1 line out of the gate today. It's the ownership that's just keeping me away. Like, it's not quite that Ottawa 1 spot, but it feels like that Ottawa 1 spot. You know what I mean? The reason it's not quite that Ottawa 1 spot, I think, is because Philly top line has legitimately been good. They're not just riding, hot shooting percentages. They can actually generate offense. The problem is it's just that ownership. Like, I'm playing 20 max tonight. I think what I might do is just have them come in on the field. I'm going to come in like 20 to 25%. I'm not going to come in at like 50% and try to get over. I'm also not going to fade them outright. I don't know if I want to fade them in this game. I mean, Merzlikins in net is always a worry. You'd rather see Korpisalo or someone like that in there. But like I said, that Philly top line has been playing well. Columbus penalty killed, nothing to worry about, as you mentioned. I'm probably going to come in at the field. If I was playing like 1 to 3, I think this is a pretty easy fade. Like if I'm playing a single entry and 25% of the lineups in a single entry in a 9-game slate are going to have Philly 1, I think it's pretty easy to say don't play Philly 1. 20 max, 150 max, you're probably going to have to get some of them in there. On the Columbus side, I agree with you. I love that Jenner, Bjorkstrand, Nyquist line. They're coming in a little bit over-owned as well. But I think you can do stuff like mix and match, like throw in Zach Werenski. Let's get to the defenseman. Zach Werenski has seen a price drop. He's under 6K on DraftKings. So, if you want to do something like Nyquist, Bjorkstrand, Werenski, that would certainly be different and get you away from what could be some chalky Columbus ownership, or, just stack the forwards plus add Werenski. It is a 2.9 total on the road. Like, they're expecting goals here. What do you think about defensemen?
Yeah, Gavrikov is out. So I think, Bean will move back up the lineup a little bit. I don't mind him either. Werenski under 6K, if you can fit him, is definitely something I'm interested. Cam York on the Flyer side, if using Flyers one makes some sense. Provorov is a fine one off. I think that is about it.
All right. Speaking of Mr. G from the top of the show, he dropped a super chat for us as well. A $20 super chat. Says, thanks for the help as always, boys. Well, not a problem, Mr. G. That's what we're here for. Thank you very much for the super chat. We appreciate that kindness. And thanks to
we
Jimmy.
Will make sure to push you in the right direction of Calle Yarncroft tonight.
Exactly. I don't think he needs any pushing. He's all about Calle Yarncroft as it is. But thanks again to him and to Jimmy and to Niehaus for the super chats. All right. Get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content for nearly every DFS sport out there with an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. This includes full access to all the premium content and tools on Awesemo.com, including player projections, ownership projections, our top stacks, our lineup builder, our Discord, and a whole lot more. Of course, if you're only looking to play NHL DFS, then you can sign up for one of our Awesemo Plus NHL packages for as low as $3.95 a week. Stop guessing, start winning, join Awesemo Plus today. All right, let's get to this next game. Ottawa, 2.2 implied goal total. They're going into Pittsburgh. The Penguins have a 3.9 implied goal total. For anybody kind of missing the lines of late, Evgeny Malkin back. He's on the second line with Kasperi Kapanen and Jason Zucker. That's pushed Evan Rodriguez down to the third line with Jeff Carter and Dominic Simone. I'm not going to talk about this for much longer because I think my favorite line of the slate is in this game. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I think you're talking about Alex Formenton. And no, I think all three Pittsburgh lines are in play tonight. Evan Rodriguez and Jeff Carter, on that third line is going to be a spicy meatball going forward. I'm not sure tonight's the night. Pitt 1 in a great spot because what Pittsburgh does at home is they send out, Teddy Bluger against the top comp. So Crosby, Gensel, Rust are going to be getting the Tim Stützle, Alex Formentons of the world, or like Dylan Gambrell, Nick Paul, Austin Watson. Like there just isn't much there for the Senators to try to stop them. So Pitt 1, elite spot. Put them in with Letang, get some of that power play correlation. Want to go to Pitt 2? I think that's fine. Like, it's just hard for me to get away from Pittsburgh power play from this game. So that's where I'm going to concentrate. On the Ottawa Senators side, it's funny now, the Senators top line, one clunker, and they're down to 1%. They are going to get that Bluger matchup. I mean, like, that matchup, they've been good, but, like, it doesn't really scare me. The thing is, like, Ottawa at the top line has been very dependent on scoring, and they've been shooting at 17%. Like, their offensive numbers aren't great, but they're fully correlated. The problem is it's 2.2 total on the road. If you want to have a little bit in MME, I think that's fine because they're going to have almost no ownership, and they can't be much worse than they were the other night. So I don't mind that in like 20 to 150, but in 1 to 3, I'm out on the Sens, and I do really like the Pittsburgh top line, top power play.
Yeah, it's the Pittsburgh top line that I really like here. Probably not a huge surprise. The thing that's a little bit of a surprise is they're coming in as one of our best leverage lines of the night. Now, when you see the other top lines, obviously Colorado in play. You have Edmonton, we're going to talk about a little bit later. The Boston top line is expensive. Florida has a big total, and we're going to talk about them in a little bit. When you see all that expensive the expensive lines elsewhere, it does make sense that they're coming in at like 7 to 10%. But man, if you're going to give me, even if it's a 10% Pitt 1 line at home against Ottawa, I have absolutely no concerns about using them. Now, the one thing about Ottawa is that the penalty kill has actually improved as the year has gone on. Like they've been about the top 5 in the league over the last, few weeks, but they haven't played as many games as the rest. So maybe it's a little bit of small sample wonkiness, and they are still just taking a ton of penalties. They're amongst the most penalized teams in the NHL. So if you're going to give Pittsburgh 4 or 5 power plays, I don't like their chances here tonight. It's Pittsburgh 1 or nothing for me. I maybe some Ottawa 1 in 150 max. I don't think I'll have them in my 20s. On the blue line, there's nobody that really sticks out for me besides correlating. Is there anybody that sticks out to you?
Artem Zub is fine at 2,900. His peripherals have bounced back a little bit of late. I just, there's probably other people I want to play in better matchups. But Zub, if you want a shot at the block bonus, I think is fine, because Jacob Bernard Docker, I think, went back down. So Zub might move up with Shabbat.
Well, they need to, because they need people to play more than 15 minutes a night so that Shabbat's not playing 30 every night.
Yeah, he legit played 30 last game. He legit.
And
it wasn't like Tampa only had 4 defenders. They had all 6, and Shabbat still played 30.
6 healthy defensemen just playing 30 minutes. Yeah. Come on, guys. Another super chat. The boys have been very, very generous to us today. Jason Zeitler, a $50 super chat. Thank you very much, Jason Z. Really appreciate that. Says Buff for all the money tonight. I don't think he has to twist my arm very hard to play some Buffalo here tonight. Maybe it is Buffalo for all the money.
They're a really good pivot off Philly one chalk, I think. Especially, well, it depends who's up there, but that Sagan Ben line has just been, I don't even know what adjective to use. Poopers. We'll use poopers.
Well, we'll use poopers. Poopers works just fine. All right, let's get to this next game. Winnipeg has a 2.6 implied goal total. They're going into Nashville. The Predators have a 3.0 implied goal total. I was looking to play some Winnipeg Jets here today, and then I looked at their ownership, and they're both coming in. Both lines are coming in over-owned. I think the top line part of it might be that it's Paul Stastny up there. He is super, super cheap. Definitely a price drop from the injured Nikolai Ehlers, and then obviously Cole Perfidi on the second line. He's cheap, and Dubois, Connor have just been great all season long. I think there's stuff to play on both sides here. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, so initially when I was going through this game, I wanted to play Nashville 1 like I always do, because they're going to get Kopp, Scheifele, Ehlers, which that line was tremendously high event. But with Stastny there, Stastny kind of makes that line pretty good defensively. And the Predators only have a 3 total, and they're kind of expensive. They're almost 18K. I still think they're a good play. I just, if Ehlers was there instead of Stastny, I'd have more interest. And I think, in 1 to 3, they're going to be in the conversation. I had to knock them down a few pegs because Stastny is better defensively than Ehlers. If you want to go to that second line, they've actually been good this season. How I feel about Ryan Johansson, but that line has been good. So they're a decent filler. I don't know if they're a 1 to 3 filler for me. There's other lines in the similar price range that I would much prefer to play. But if you're looking to get some lower owned combinations for filler stacks with your expensive stuff, I think Nashville 2 makes some sense. Now on the Jets side, I agree. I wanted to play some Jets. I don't know. The thing is, the Predators penalty kill just is not good. So I think if you're going to do something, it's power play related. I think I'll lean towards Connor Dubois just because they've been so much better this year and they're on the top power play. Scheifele, Kopp, lower owned than Dubois, Connor, but I just think Kyle Connor is their best player, their best winger. So you want the best guy on the power play. So I think that would get me on to Connor Dubois, and then Cole Perfidi is still min price, so I think you can add him in. They're going to get that Rijo line, which has been pretty good, but again, the Nashville penalty kill had just been bad. So I think you don't really stack Winnipeg anyway for their 5-on-5 prowess. They're pretty bad 5-on-5. They do their most damage on the power play, so that point holds. So I think both top 6 lines are in play. It's just it's just a conversation of how you want to attack it in 1 to 3 or MME. I lean more towards MME.
Yeah, I do like the Nashville top line in this game here tonight. What kind of worries me, I guess, is that Scheifele's defensive numbers without Blake Wheeler on his line have been pretty good. You know what I mean? Like Blake Wheeler's just kills that line. So it could be a tough matchup going into Scheifele, but I see Nashville with positive leverage. Anytime we see Nashville with positive leverage, we usually play them. So Nashville 1's definitely going to be a play for me, but it's Winnipeg 2. It's Connor Dubois Perfidi that I want to talk about the most. You brought them up, how they're probably your favorite line. They have been playing very well all year. Like if you look at Dubois and Connor, like almost regardless of the winger they have, they're generating like 70 shot attempts per 60 minutes. It's absolutely crazy, the offense that they're bringing. And Nashville, you mentioned their penalty kill, bottom 10 penalty kill by almost every metric over the last 6 weeks. And they're amongst the 5 or 6 most penalized teams in hockey over that stretch. Like the only thing that really, really worries me on the Nashville side is UC Saros. Like I put him in, like, I think he's one of the 4 or 5 best goalies in hockey. That's what worries me. It's not necessarily the matchup against Nashville. And when it's only a goalie that's concerning me, I'm going to have some Winnipeg 2 here. So Winnipeg 2, Nashville 1. On the blue line, I think Carrier for Nashville is definitely still in play because of his ice time. He's been getting, 23 minutes, 22 minutes regularly. On the Winnipeg side, I guess correlating with Pionk. Anybody else stick out to you?
Not on the Winnipeg side, and obviously on the Nashville side, if for some reason you have AK lying around for your last spot, Yossi makes some sense. Obviously, you can correlate with Nashville 1 there, so Yossi, Carrier, Pionk.
Yeah, all right. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you played in your first paid contest. We will reach out via email with your coupon. If you'd like to speed up the process of getting access, email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, and that can be used to enter any Yahoo contest. Those contests include tonight's NHL $5,000 baller and the NFL $250,000 Saturday baller featuring no management fees. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. All right, 4 more games to get through. Let's get to the first one. Florida, 3.7 implied goal total. They're going into Edmonton. Edmonton has a 3.2 implied goal total. I'm going to tell you, like, this is my 3rd year working at Awesemo. I've never seen a 7 total by our own projections. I have seen them by some gambling sites or whatever elsewhere. I haven't seen them by our own projections. That is a lot of goals expected in this game. On the Edmonton side, they've completely messed up their lines. Brendan Perlini and Kyler Yamamoto on the top line. Zach Hyman might be on the second line with Leon Draisaitl and Jesse Puljujarvi, but they're waiting on a COVID test from Hyman, so he may be out tonight. We'll have to see. Florida on the other side, pretty much as expected. All right, what do you got here, Josh?
Perlini on the top? I thought it was Fogle.
It was Fogle. They just said like an hour ago that Perlini's cleared to play tonight and he's going to be on the top line.
God. All right. Okay. Like, so I guess if Hyman's out, Fogle will slide into his spot. Okay. Like, I'm not really sure like what to do here. Like if you want to put like this is a 7 total, so like fading McDavid here when he's 8,400 just seems silly. So I guess if you want to play like McDavid, Draisaitl, Yamamoto, who's 2,600 on the top power play, I guess you can go that route. Florida, it's weird because like they have not been great on the road, despite how good they have been at home. Well, I guess that's not weird. Like it happens. But like these Edmonton line combinations, just a scene and a half. Like if Hyman's out, I wonder if they move Draisaitl back up with McDavid. Like, I would have to imagine, like, at some point during the game, they're going to be back together. So I think your safest bet is just, doing what you always do with Edmonton is just power play stack. Go McDavid, Draisaitl, Yamamoto, or McDavid, Draisaitl. I don't even know who will be on the top power play with Hyman out. Puljujärvi probably. So that's probably what I would do with the Edmonton situation, especially if you don't get clarity. If we don't get clarity on the lines before lock with Hyman out or in. So I'd probably just stick to power play stacking. On the Florida side, like, they have a huge total, 3.7, and no ownership. There is not a matchup that worries me on the Oilers. So, like, both of these top lines are definitely in play for me. The price on Huberdeau is down under 7K. I think, Florida 2 is perfectly fine. Surprise, surprise. But I also really, really like Florida 1 here. Like, the ownership is around the same. Both these lines have great numbers. Edmonton Oilers have been terrible defensively. Their goalies have been an issue. They've lost 6 in a row. So I think, this is a 7 over under. I think it's crazy to me that the ownership is so low on both sides. So I think, Edmonton, I worry about the combinations, and I probably just stick to power play stacking. But Florida, I think, both top 2 lines are in play. And if you really just want like a filler, I don't mind Lundell Vetrano either.
I will go in this direction and say I want to play some Florida 1 here tonight for 2 reasons. One, the Edmonton penalty kill is awful, like bad, like bottom 10 in the league over the last few weeks, bad. So definitely want to get either the Florida top line or the Florida second line. The thing is they rarely send out Draisaitl versus top lines for a very good reason. And honestly, I think Puljujärvi and Hyman, if he plays, I think that would be the only line that I would conceivably be worried about defensively, because I think Hyman and Puljujärvi could be pretty good defensively. You know what I mean? And, that might take me out of some Florida 2, Florida 3. It would be Florida 1 for me, Barkov, Reinhart, and Verhaeghe. Throw in some Ekblad if you want a power play stat, but it's Barkov and Reinhart that I really want to target the most here. On the Edmonton side, it's just power play stack. Like you said, there's just, like, I'm not running out to play Zach Kassian. I'm not running out to play, Kyler Yamamoto. I'm not running out to play whoever's going to replace Hyman if he needs replacing. I'm just not doing it. Rely on the old reliables from the Oilers, McDavid, Draisaitl, Puljujärvi, those guys. On the blue line, I mean, Gustav Forsling, if I'm not mistaken, is out tonight. So this is going to be an absolute festival for defensemen in this game. Love Uyghur, love Gudas, love Nurse. Anybody else besides those 3 stick out?
We also love a Nurse with a good ass. I know you're watching.
Oh my! I set you up so easy for that one.
Yeah, you did. Nurse at 5,500 is an incredible price for this game. Chris Russell, Cowboy Chris Russell's back. If you want to throw on your cowboy hat for 2,800, we do it. Good ass as well. Uyghur 5,100. Don't even mind Montour at 2,900, but he's definitely behind the other guys.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. All right, let's move this along. Colorado 3.4 going into Los Angeles. The Kings have a 2.7 implied goal total. The Kings announced some line changes. Quentin Byfield was called up. He's going to be on the third line with Carl Grundstrom and Dustin Brown. Samuel Fagemo was moved up to the top line with Anze Kopitar. So it looks like Kings second and fourth line are going to stay still. Brand new third line for Los Angeles. Fagemo to the top line for the Kings. Colorado looks like pretty much status quo. What do you like here, Josh?
Yeah, Colorado won.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I forgot we had a super chat earlier. My mistake. Sorry. Bobby Boom had a $6.90 super chat. He asked our favorite 1% stack for tonight. I'm going to go with the Montreal top line. We're going to talk about them briefly in the next game. But the Montreal top line is my 1% stack for tonight.
Yeah, that is the one I had written down too. Toffoli Suzuki, especially.
I mean, San Jose 2 is a 1% line as well, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So is Ottawa 1. Like, I'm not super thrilled about playing them, but like they are coming in at 1%. They're fully correlated. I don't think I get there in 1 to 3. So I'll say San Jose 2, but I agree with Cliffy that Toffoli Suzuki is probably my favorite line at 1% or under.
There you go. All right. Sorry, Colorado, Los Angeles. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when it's not Iafallo, Kopitar, Kempe, that the defensive numbers are just bad. So like Colorado 1's in an extremely good spot, and their ownership is pretty low. I know they were in an extremely good spot yesterday and let everyone down, but like they were 45% last night. Tonight, they're currently projected around 8-9, even if that doubles to 16-17. That's still like a really good number for Colorado 1. They're obviously the most expensive line of the night. You're going to need some filler stacks to go with them, but like the Kings penalty kill is awful. That the lines outside of the Deneau line are awful. And I kind of am wondering if they're going to send out the Deneau line against McKinnon a little bit with the way the lines are constituted, but like I don't think they're going to hard match that. So like I just think, Colorado 1's in a great spot, but that's really about it from Colorado. And then on the Kings side, like LA2, if they're going to get that Colorado 2 matchup without Valery Nichushkin, is just like they're 11K and their numbers are just like bananas. So I'm not really sure what there is to say. Like Deneau is probably on the top power play tonight with the guys out. So like Deneau, Arvidsson power play 1 for 8,200, coming in under 10% against Kadri, Burakovsky, O'Connor, who haven't been great defensively. They're on a back-to-back on the road. So I really like LA2 and Colorado 1.
I'm off Los Angeles in this game. Like I see the LA2 argument. They are just a phenomenal line. For me, I just think they're coming in a little bit too over-owned. So for me in this game, it's all about Colorado 1. I love that matchup against the top line with Fagemo there now. We have them with the best leverage on the slate. Obviously, it's tough to 3-man stack them because they are 24,000 and change. So I'm going to do a lot of like Kadri, Rantanen, Makar, McKinnon, Rantanen, Taves, stuff like that to try to bring the price down so I can get another stack in there. But it's Colorado 1 for me. On the blue line, not a whole lot sticking out for me on either side besides correlating. Obviously, Devin Taves, 5,300, very, very reasonable. What else do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, I like Ole Mata at min price. He's just one of those guys I like to play. He plays like 18, 19 minutes a night. I much prefer Mata to Mikey Anderson. Matt Roy's okay, 3,400. But on the Colorado side, it's Taves or Makar for me.
Yep, I agree with that completely. We have an Awesemo Hall of Fame here at Awesemo where we do celebrate our winners, and we talked about a bunch of them at the top of the show, and we're going to talk about a few more here. If you want to get in the Awesemo Hall of Fame and get a chance to win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, this is how you do it. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You place in the top 3 of a contest with at least 5,000 contestants, and then you tweet the wins to the Awesemo Hoff account on Twitter. That's Awesemo HOF. You do all that, and you can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You'll see some of our Awesemo Hoff subscribers up there. You see DZZ Nuts 2021. Amazing help. Amazing work from your team. Helped me get some money. Took down 25K in NFL. Cedric 11 took down, I think it was the $50 nickel. You see Baluganad taking down 1st and 5th for over 30K in NBA on Tuesday night. NBA, NFL, NHL, we have you covered. Come join the Awesemo Hall of Fame. Just make sure you tweet your wins to the Awesemo Hoff account. Before we get out, if you guys could, please throw us a thumbs up, click that subscribe button. Really does help us out a lot, and make sure you click that bell to get alerts when we do go live. All right, couple more games to get through. The first one, Montreal 2.1 implied goal total going to Vegas. Vegas has a 4 implied goal total. Mark Stone and Nicholas Hague are in protocols, which means Vegas is without their top two wingers here. And we've seen that team be mediocre defensively with those two wingers out of the lineup. It's not as if Montreal is a very good team, but this is all of a sudden a very interesting game. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, and Vegas has a 4 total, which is just crazy to me. And their ownership's in check. Like normally, like Vegas won just way over leveraged, but like they're coming in at 7% tonight. They're kind of expensive for them, but like still, this is a great matchup. They're fully correlated on the top power play. One of my favorite stacks tonight for sure. Now that Stone's out, like defensively, it's just they're iffy. You know, that makes Carlson the shutdown line. It doesn't really matter. Like they're gonna go out against Suzuki Toffoli, but like that actually I like have interest in Suzuki Toffoli tonight because of that reason. Now, like stacking the Habs and the 2.1 total on the road, you know, long-term profitable, probably not, but like Toffoli being back is a big deal for the Habs. And they're 8,800 for the two of them, coming in under 1% against a line that, you know, is maybe league average defensively. I'm going to have some interest. And then like without Stone and Patches, like that second line of Dadonov, Stevenson, Janmark, I would assume, not great defensively. And, you know, I know, you know, Rem Pitlick was on the Wild and he's just another guy, but he is kind of like the Energizer Bunny. And he does have some play driving wingers here. Josh Anderson is good and Drew Ren is good. So I don't even mind getting to some Montreal too here as a filler. Like there's just going to be really low on stacks. So it like Vegas, when they have injuries, they're just not close to the same team. And these are some major injuries. So surprisingly have some interest in Montreal tonight. And I do really like Vegas one.
Yeah, it's Montreal 1 for me here with Stone and Pacioretty off the top line. Stevenson, Dadonov, 47% shot share, 43% scoring chances. They're bad. Like they're not, you know, league average or a little bit above. They're just bad. So yeah, I will definitely have some Suzuki Toffoli 2-mans here. On the blue line, nobody's sticking out to me on either side besides, you know, the usuals, Theodore Pietrangelo, obviously with Hague out. Anybody else stick out to you?
About it.
All right. Let's move it along. We got one game left. We do have some shows coming up after us at 3:30 Eastern. You have the Jock Market NFL Divisional Round show with Eitan and Eric. And then your NBA Double Dose starting at 5:30 Eastern, kicking off with your deeper dive with Laffy and Adam. All right. Final game, San Jose, 2.8 implied goal total. Going into Seattle, also a 2.8 implied goal total. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I'm not playing anything from Seattle. There's nothing that interests me from their side. On the San Jose side, you know, Seattle's all overowned. On the San Jose side, I still do like that top line, even with Barabanov there. They're going to see the Gord Yarncroc line, and Gord Yarncroc is 43% shot share over the last month. So Meyer and Hurdle back in play for me. Who you got?
Same. I really like Hurdle Meyer. You want to put him in with Burns, you want to put him with Carlson. I think either are fine. If you want to leave Barabanov off. On the Seattle side, like, yeah, they are overowned. I don't mind Johansson, McCann, Eberle. They've been very, very good together, at least offensively. Ownership is a concern, especially, but, you know, if you want to get them in 20 max, I think that's fine.
Yeah, we should say Seattle 1 is probably going to see third and fourth lines a lot from San Jose here. And Seattle and San Jose's bottom 6 is pretty bad. So as long as they avoid that top 6 matchup, I think Seattle 1, yeah, you're right, definitely in play. But I do like Meyer, Hurdle, Barabanov more. They've still been good, even with Barabanov there. 57% of the scoring chances, 5.3 goals per 60. All right, we got to get out of here. Josh, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick picks and your goalies. My hat trick pick for tonight, I'm going to get very spicy, assuming he's on the top line, Alex Tuck. And my goalies for tonight, UC Saros, Carter Hart, Aaron Dell. Who you got?
My hat trick pick was on that line as well, so we will look for a new one. I like James Reimer. I like UC Saros. Actually, if you really want to get spicy, the Montreal starter should see some shots. My hat trick pick. Should I just get even spicier? I'm going to go Chris Letang.
Oh, I like that. I mean, Pittsburgh's in a great spot. You never know. There you go. Chris Letang, Alex Tuck, your hat trick picks. We got to get out of here, but we will be back tomorrow for a Friday show. For producer Tyler, for Josh, I'm Michael Clifford saying good luck tonight, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.